Assalamu alaikum. I will finish by 15 minutes. And the rest of the time may be spent on question and answers. The brother reminded me and likes me how we are actually endangered species. We, the Muslims, who are thinking of looking at Islam from another perspective. We are abandoned from that side and we are abandoned from this side as well. But still, in that darkness, some candles will glow, like this conference. Thank you very much, Banafshe and Austin. Any sane person, sorry, when I don't smoke for a long time, it happens. Any sane person in the world will understand and realize that with all those religions around, secularism is not a choice anymore. It is the only way to go. Actually, all the religions, followers of the religions, and including followers of many sects of Islam, admitted it practically, except one. A very powerful, very strategic, and with the strength of 1 million tsunamis, it alone stands very tall against separation of church and state. We can call it, other speakers called it, political Islam. What is political Islam? Political Islam is the brand of Islam, the followers of which believe that creating global Sharia-based Islamic law is a part and parcel of Islam. That was the mission of all the prophets, and that is the command of God on them. Now it's very difficult to undo a perceived command of God. How political Islam's institution look at secular democracy? Let me get the answer from its founding father, modern founding father, Maulana Maududi, 1941. His book, A Short History of Revivalist Movement in Islam. He says, in this Islamic government system, there is not much room for a person to exercise his free will, unquote. Second quote from his book, Islamic Law and Constitution. From political point of view, the theory of Islamic State is the very antithesis of Western secular democracy. So probably now you get a picture how they look at separation of church and state. And at the end he says, in Jihad in Islam, page 6, Islam wants to destroy all other governments from the face of this planet, unquote. In page 24, quote, if Islamic government has adequate resources, it will destroy all other governments of the world, unquote. So that is a declaration of an informal war against all of you, against all the non-Muslims of the world. Now his voice sounds and resounds after all this 60 years, from Trinidad to Toronto, from Australia to whatever. They have created millions of followers by abundant flow of petrodollars, creating institutions 50 years ago that produced piranhas batches by batches. Somebody was telling why rich and educated Muslim of the West can support such a philosophy. Well, you have brought a Trojan horse here. In the immigration form, there is not a question, do you believe in secular democracy? It's not there. I have given this petition to one of our top leaders who didn't vote. Well, do you know who funded these Sunday Islamic schools? Saudi. Do you know what syllabus is taught there? So, you allowed to grow in your soil a system which knows very well how to take advantage of your system to destroy your system. The point is, the political Islamists are very cunning. Let me tell you, don't get me wrong, you are kids in front of them. You are so naive. They have succeeded in controlling Muslim world. Recently, let me go back. When Muslim world got independence from colonialism, Nasser of Egypt, Jinnah of Pakistan, Mossadegh of Iran, Sukarno of Indonesia, very important Muslim worlds, all were out and out secular. After 50 years today, the victory of political Islam is almost complete from Morocco to Indonesia, except 4 places: Morocco, Tunisia, Senegal, and Tatarstan. Mr. Shahriar Kabir did a marvelous job on Tatarstan. So now it's time to focus on the West. Less than 5%, less than 3% Muslim population made their presence so well that the parliament has to think twice to do anything which touches Muslims. They have succeeded in getting accepted elements of Sharia law in Germany and in Britain. I will elaborate later in question and answer session if time permits. But their success reached pinnacle, the highest peak in Toronto. There was a Canadian Sharia court. Irshad Manji touched it, but he was short of time, so he was very brief. The Sharia court started in 1991 with the blessing of Canadian law. It was not an informal institution. It was a formally, legally allowed, valid Sharia court in Ontario. In 2003, it applied to the government for the arbitration status so that their verdict cannot be challenged in Canadian court. That is the time when Canadian Council of Muslim Women, a very small but vibrant organization, Muslim Canadian Congress, which I happen to be the director of Sharia, and an international campaign against Canadian Sharia Court 3, jumped in action. 3 years of unbelievable struggle. We all lost our weights. And last year, government passed another law, repealing that law of 1991. So, the Sharia Court was banned. It's no more there. From here, we have to learn a lesson. Political Islam can be opposed effectively by non-political Muslims. How? Because Muslim scholars of non-political Islam has identified how Islam has been corrupt to fit into political interest and patriarchy before 1400 years ago. So once it's identified, we know the antidotes, what to do to inform common people, illiterate but honest, ignorant but simple Muslim mass from Morocco to Indonesia. That's what we are doing. This is a video, the debate on Sharia with a Maulana. This is a drama of love and tears and laughter, but on Sharia. Somebody is making a movie on it, and real documents are here. Hanafi law book, Shafi law book, Sahih Bukhari of Madinah University, the Quran. So people will see the books and characters read from the Sharia books, and they know how much anti-women and anti-Quranic, anti-non-Muslim, anti-humanity, illogical, ridiculous laws Sharia contain. This is another one. Now these things take money. If you ask me, okay, how much you need for your next project? $3,000, I'm giving you $3,000. You know what? I don't have money, but I cannot take. Why? The moment they will know, and they will know, that I have taken the money from an American non-Muslim, it will be proven as a conspiracy against Islam. So this type of very fine struggles we are doing. I have written books Islam and Sharia in Bangladesh. And my another book, Threat of Political Islam, is coming up in English. And other DVDs as well. Before I stop, I repeat the point that from the Quran, it is possible to make a dynamics, a mechanism of supporting separation of church and state. You may be surprised. Let me give you at least one example, otherwise you will be lost in dark. The Quran identifies itself in 7 places, absolutely in clear terms, as a book of guidance, a book of Munir, Nur, a book of light, a book of warning, and a book of good news. Nowhere in the Quran there is even a remote verse identifying the Quran as a law book. Actually, if you go to Encyclopedia Britannica 1983, you will see Imam Bukhari, the next person of the Prophet, Sahih Bukhari is the next to Quran. He said that the Quran is not a book of law. The moment he said, the Caliph sent him to exile, didn't allow him to talk to people anymore, and he died there in Samarkand. So, Sharia is a product of political conspiracy and patriarchy. So we see lots of hate against non-Muslims and against women. It is possible to show these dynamics to people, common people, so that they will realize the conspiracy, they will realize how Islam actually is possible to create it, not to create, it's already created, but it never got propagated, that from Islam, it is possible to support separation of church and state. To record these documents, we invited the Shariaists again and again and again. They don't come. They promise to come on the spot. We arrange everything, TV camera and recording. They don't show up. Again and again, at least 10 times. This is the only one this Maulana came to me. He never came back. Anyway, I should stop now. All right, let me touch the point of absence of political Islam in Shiaism. Actually, that's not true. When Abbasides uprooted the Umayyad Khilafat by a bloodshed genocide in 750, with the help of Shia Imams, the Abbasid started killing the Shias in mass. So, we see a rebel Shiite Khalif called Fatimid Khilafat in Morocco, Tunisia. Later they moved to Egypt. And actually, this Shiites, Fatimid Khilafat, is the one who established Al-Azhar University, which is the North Center of Islamic Education today, with lots of violence in their syllabus. Let me tell you, Al-Azhar University syllabus, Saudi University syllabus, Pakistan school syllabus has lots of hatred against all of you. The chief educationist, Dr. Rizwan, Dr. Fawzan of Saudi, his books are taught in your country, in schools founded by Saudi money. There are other points. You will make a blunder if you take Sharia as a law book. Sharia is not a benign law book. Sharia is the malignant inspiration of creating Islamic State. So, to defeat Islam, a beautiful and effective way to undermine or prove that Sharia is actually anti-humanity, that's a perfect way to go, and it works with common people. If we can undo Sharia, political Islam is automatically undone. There are mechanisms developed by our scholars how to do that. Like, the very fine work was done by Mahmud Taha of Sudan. His book, The Second Message of Islam, shows clearly how Islam not only permits, but actually supports separation of church and state. And political Islam is actually violating Islam, and what are the conspiracies? So what happened? He was hanged in 1985. He was, I believe, 72 or 73. So our voice, people like us were always killed, harassed. It's part of our life today. But we do it. I will really stop now with one sentence. One thing. I get hate calls, as we all do, part of my life. That once I really got a heavy one, serious one, very serious one. You can't even imagine. So what I did the right thing. I asked the person who has a right on my life, my wife. I told her, what should I do now? And it was real. The threat was real. My bloodshed was obligatory. My wife and my property and my children were to be hostage, and etc. You know what she said? She said, if you think you are doing the right thing, never submit to threats. And I thank her so much for that.